Alright, Seattle, it's time to jump for joy because another traffic camera crash compilation starts now. First up, a bit of a train wreck. This car is stopped in the left lane to make a U-turn and traffic behind them is coming up fast. This car manages to stop in time, but then, well, just watch. But wait, there's more. That's how we do it in Seattle. We'll move from a metaphorical train wreck to a literal one. We've got a red turn arrow and an illuminated sign, but none of that is enough to stop this SUV driver from turning left into the path of a light rail train. The video skips a little bit, probably the same way that the driver's brain did when they tried this maneuver. Of course, there are lots of Seattle drivers who ignore traffic signals. As always, we have an appalling number of red light runners, starting with this hard hit in southwest Seattle. This alternate angle shows that the Tesla had a solid red light. Here's another one at the same spot. This white van blows their red light with predictable results. And here's one more. Watch the upper left corner where a red light runner gets T-boned. On the top of the screen here we have a red light runner. They get hit hard and that turns into a 3-vehicle crash. Hopefully they didn't have the cheapest insurance they could buy, but judging by their driving skills, they probably do. The driver of this white SUV hits the brakes, but not until they're already in the intersection, and by then it's a little bit too late. At the bottom of your screen now, this SUV driver runs one red light and decides to try their luck at a second as well, but this one doesn't end as well for them. Unfortunately, it also ends badly for the innocent driver that they crashed into. Just a shocking disregard of traffic laws, which will probably have no lasting impact on this driver. Of course, sometimes there are consequences. Watch the headlights coming towards us at the top of the screen. It's a little hard to see, but that was an SUV driver running a red light at very high speeds. Here's a zoomed in, slowed down view. Now that SUV was sent into a light pole. It's hard to see the vehicle because it's surrounded by firefighters. Now there were no serious injuries to the occupants of the car, but the driver and passenger of the SUV, both men in their 20s, were killed in this crash. Alright, we have one last red light runner, this one in the Delridge area. As you can see, that red light runner doesn't even slow down and they flee the scene at high speed. After a few seconds, the vehicle that was hit decides to chase them. Now this is both understandable and a terrible idea. Anything that sends you through the city streets at high speed should be avoided, and it's unclear what the plan was if they did catch up. I'm not sure how it played out because I couldn't spot them on any other traffic cameras. Speaking of flying down city streets at high speeds, watch this car in the left lane here. It's hard to see, but there's a high median there that they're smashing over before crashing into a pair of retaining walls. Same spot, different night. This car is going even faster and traveling with no headlights on. Just insanely reckless behavior, and this time, in addition to the walls, they hit at least one other car as well. Again, shockingly reckless. And they're extremely lucky that nobody was killed or badly injured. Alright, one last clip from the same spot. Keep an eye on this mail truck. It's a little bit hard to tell what's going on here, but something sends them left of center, and that's a hard head-on collision. Now, unfortunately, postal worker shenanigans are going to continue in Bellevue this time with an incredibly poorly done U-turn. No idea what that driver was thinking there. We have a few more from Bellevue as well. This dark car at the bottom of your screen seems to have a red light. At least we know they won't be fleeing the scene in their vehicle. This red SUV on the bottom of your screen has a red light that the driver chooses to ignore, which leads to a crash. And here we have a few drivers pushing this yellow light, and unfortunately that SUV does not wait for the intersection to clear before going. We've got some unfortunate left turns in Seattle as well. Here's one on Aurora Avenue in North Seattle. And here's one downtown. I'm not sure how neither of those drivers saw the other, but it appears that nobody was paying any attention to what was happening. Speaking of not paying attention, we've got some rear-end collisions. It's hard to tell here, but there's another stoplight behind the one that we can see. The silver car stops, but the pickup behind them does not. Here's one in West Seattle. We don't get too many clips from this part of town. Not sure if the drivers are better there or if there just aren't enough cameras. But this is a hard rear-end hit that leads to a 3-vehicle collision. Here's one at 5th and Mercer, right next to the guy tweaking out on the corner. We got this one from another angle as well. It almost looks like a brake check situation. Always a dumb move to pull, but also a good reminder to keep that following distance because you never know how stupid the person in front of you might be. We have a minor one here in Lake City. Watch the blue hatchback on the right. Not sure what they were looking at, but it sure wasn't the road. And this one's a little hard to see, but watch this car changing lanes. For whatever reason, they slam into another vehicle before deciding to flee the scene through a red light. Jackass. This one's also hard to see, but it looks like a vehicle changes lanes into the path of another vehicle. They get shunted right into oncoming traffic, and that causes a nasty 3-vehicle collision right on the Aurora Bridge. I've got a little more bridge action for you. Watch this car just entering the intersection. They're going a bit too fast on these wet roads, and they're going to end up on the curb. And this happens quite a bit at this spot. Watch this blue car in the far right lane. They switch lanes and pick up a good bit of speed coming into the turn. We don't actually see the crash, but we do see a bit of debris that flies into the roadway. And as they pan the camera a few minutes later, it looks like the car was disabled. And one more at the same spot. Watch this car that's already driving partly on the shoulder. Once again, they're coming in way too fast into this intersection. And they hit that curb hard before sliding to a stop. Okay, on the left we've got a bus pulling away from a bus shelter. This is up in Lake City. Now keep an eye on these cars that are turning left. This car is driving stupidly fast, and they take out that bus shelter where people had been waiting less than a minute before. And of course this dummy flees the scene. I just hope that the car was badly damaged. Speaking of dummies, watch this car turning left here. They don't seem to be going super fast, and yet, right into a giant pole. What are the odds of that happening, you might say? Surely we won't see that again. Ah, but you underestimate Seattle drivers. Same spot, different dummy. Same pole. Now what's even wider than a pole? How about a bus? Something that this pickup truck thing is about to somehow not see as they pull into traffic. Okay, we're down to our last few clips, and it wouldn't be a Seattle Crashes compilation without a cut-through collision on Rainier Avenue. Watch this car here as they prepare to make an ill-fated left turn through traffic. We have another cut-through crash down on Lander near the Starbucks headquarters. Here's a slightly zoomed-in view of the same crash. Alright, one last clip before this video comes to a screeching halt. That was a hard hit, but it would have been much worse without the barrier there. That is the last crash. As always, thank you for watching, and please put down your goddamn phones and pay attention to the road in front of you. Now, I'm sorry for the length of time between videos. I work full-time, and my kiddo is now old enough to move on her own, so free time tends to be measured in minutes. But I love putting these together, and I love reading all of your comments, so I'll get another video up as soon as I can. Drive safe, Seattle. We'll see you next time.